What do? We end up looking like a monkey fucking a football out there. I'm Liam, he's Rob, and this week we are looking back at the unofficial follow-up to 1986's Top Gun, Tony Scott's slightly less sweaty, a little less orange, and not quite as good 1990s Days of Thunder. With at least one story strand too many, this aesthetically wonderful Nascar classic never quite comes together as you'd hope, but thanks to its wonderful cast, pitch-perfect tone, and exceptional direction from Tony Scott, Days of Thunder delivers an enjoyable, if slightly underwhelming version of Top Gun with cars. Probably more famous as the movie where Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman started dating, and arguably the movie that figuratively and literally ended the excess fuel movie making of the 80s. I feel like on this side of the Atlantic at least, Days of Thunder has kind of fallen by the wayside. And I guess we could say that of when we were younger too. I'm not sure if it's the same in your case, but I'm not sure if it's the NASCAR element or the simple fact that this wasn't as well kind of received as Top Gun. But it never felt like Days of Thunder was a massive deal in my life. Like I've seen this movie before, but I hadn't seen it for ages. And I feel like it's only come back to prominence because of F1 and all of Joseph Kosinski's talk about a potential crossover sequel.
Yeah, it wasn't really big in my zeitgeist either. Like I watched it, I enjoyed it. Said last week, I think it's one of Tom Cruise's finer performances because, yes, Tom Cruise, but it's good, but it's not like it's not Tony Scott's best, and I will give it. We already went through Tony Scott's weird thing last week. I couldn't believe he did these films or that film, but his list of films is insane. But I still enjoy this film. But I agree with you. What did you say about one? What was it? What you said? You said one
Well, the
narrative.
thing is, I mean, I said one too many narrative strands. But
Okay, sorry. Before you go on, no, before
it.
you go on, because I wrote this down, right? I agree. The film already has too many arcs. You got Tony Scott juggling Cole versus Rowdy, Cole versus Russ, Cole versus his own ego, Cole versus the corporate suits, Cole versus physics. Adding Cole versus his feelings is one subplot too many. Now, the reason why I put that is I think the fucking romance in it is pointless. The love story feels bolted on, and I am not a fan of it at all. She's only there. I don't even know why she's there. I mean, Claire's role is basically plot functional. It's not character essential at all. She exists to diagnose him, warn him, scold him, and then kiss him. That's literally it. There's no more to it. That story that I could have done without
the problem
that entire...
is, I'm not necessarily against that part of the narrative, but this is true of basically every single, other than maybe Cole and Harry, which is really the fundamentally
that's
the
the
heart.
love story.
That's the true love story of the movie.
Yeah.
Well, you hear like, what, 10 minutes into the film? Oh, Cole, you have daddy issues. I wonder where you're going to find a surrogate father from. I wonder. She's like, it's unsubtle to say the least. But I don't mind the kind of love story potentially between Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman in this film. I actually think as far as Tom Cruise goes, they've got pretty decent chemistry for the most part. Any issues with their performances on screen isn't to do with their chemistry. I think it's to do with the writing and just the lack of impetus that their relationship is given. But I could almost say that of everything because for what we already mentioned there, this film has too many plates spinning. As you mentioned, like the different relationships. In 1 minute he's like, oh, Rowdy's going to be his big competitor. Then next thing you know, they're buddies. Then next thing you know, he's racing for Rowdy, and because they're all dealing with issues of kind of fear of death and all these, and they just keep adding more and more plates, and then you finally get to what should be the big showdown at like Daytona 500, and you're just like, none of it matters. All these things happen. I'm just like, I don't give a shit.
By the time they get to Daytona, there's 15 minutes left of the film, so they built it up, and it's not enough at the end.
Well, I mean, if you want if you want to encapsulate the issue with this film, you look at that final race sequence. The answer is Cary Elwes, with no fault of Cary Elwes. He is fucking airdropped into this movie with like 15 minutes to go because they were suddenly like, wait, we've just made Rowdy his friend, or Roddy, whatever you want to call him. We're like, what's going to be the draw of like the final race? It's like, oh, well, he's racing Rowdy's car and it's for his family. It's like, that's not enough. We're going to need someone else. We'll just add these guy. And so what's his deal? He's a bit of a dick. That's it.
I need to ask, has this film been edited to death? Because you've already hinted at it, right? But you get the brief handshake with Cary Elwes' character.
Yeah.
Was it Russ? Russ Wheeler.
Yeah,
Yeah.
every name in this film is amazing, by the way. Russ Wheeler. Russ Wheeler, unbelievably, is like the sixth least interesting name in this film.
You get the brief handshake with them. He's going to take over racing while you're ill, and you can go fuck your doctor and get the go ahead. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but then all of a sudden they hate each other. Okay, so where's that animosity? Okay, that's on the cutting room floor. It's fine. They're best. Rowdy and Cole are now best friends because they raced.
Yeah.
And Cole can just let himself into Rowdy's house whenever he wants. He knows the kids. He
Oh
knows
yeah, they're like properly
yeah.
best friends also.
So them becoming best friends is on the cutting room floor.
Same with same. Even you can make an argument with Cole and Harry. Like at the start of the film, they're at each other's throats, and then just out of the blue, they're like, "Oh, we're like father and son now."
Yeah,
it just happens like within seconds with nothing really to back it up. And like say,
all of Randy Quaid's. Pretty much all of Randy Quaid's dealings with anything else, cutting room floor, because that guy just comes in and he comes out so fucking quick. It's ridiculous. Or I'm in. Okay, and do you know when I first watched this film? Well, sorry, no, this is the first time I've noticed narrative threads that I've never noticed before.
Mm-hmm.
I probably because I watched it when I was way younger. I didn't just pick up on it all. Like I didn't pick up on the fact that Randy Quaid was just a car dealer. He owned a car dealership, and now he's so. Apparently anyone can just have a NASCAR car. Okay, that's fine.
Just in the same way, it's just about anyone could be a NASCAR driver. Like Tom Cruise just rolls in. Oh, he's in a bit of stock car racing. Get him in a NASCAR. Yeah. You'll be fine.
The other thing I missed was Harry retired because the guy a year ago had died in his car. I didn't pick up. That's the first time I've ever picked up on that.
That is again like so many narrative strands totally undersold, which is supposed to play into the whole crash sequence, but it just falls completely flat.
Yeah. Cole losing his last job because his boss was fraudulent. I never fucking picked up on.
Who happened to be his dad as well.
Yes, I never got that at all from the last. So
the thing is, unless you're paying attention.
I'm sorry, I was watching this film going, have I ever watched this film before? Like I've watched this film just to watch the pretty lights because I never picked up on any of that shit before.
Even if you hadn't watched it when you were 10, say you'd watched this when you were like 25. So say you'd watched this, 20 something years ago, yeah? Right? Why would any of that stick in your head? None of it goes anywhere. None of it is actually important in any meaningful way.
It's not important, but it's good to have.
Yeah, but
it's not important because when I watched it before, it's like, all right, but they're offering all these things, but I don't understand why. And okay, they're not giving me answers to them now, but at least I kind of understand. Like I still don't understand Cole's fucking why he has to be the way he is and why he has to drive fast and do all that shit. I don't understand that. There's no information from us.
The problem is
that.
There's just not enough information on anything. They just don't let anything breathe. You mentioned Randy Quaid even. Randy Quaid comes in and like you say, he's already got this big narrative. He's basically a car dealer and he's trying to deal with the sponsors and all that. And then halfway through, and I think because they're trying to establish Cary Elwes as the bad guy, all of a sudden Randy Quaid's character just becomes basically a bad guy for like 3 scenes and it's poorly explained. So ostensibly they get 2 teams briefly, kind of like, I guess in Formula One, it'd be like Red Bull and Red Bull Racing. They're competing against each other, but they're under the same umbrella. So, he's in your team, but he's not in your team. So all of a sudden Randy Quaid is just all in on Cary Elwes and fuck Tom Cruise. And I think they're just trying to add a bit of drama there. But based on what? A pretty successful pit stop at the end of the film, all of a sudden Randy Quaid switches back and says, no, I'm team fucking Tom Cruise again.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you can't just keep hopping around. And that is, like I said, there's a really good movie in here. This is really well directed, largely well acted, great cast, looks like the races, and we'll get to those obviously, look amazing. They look absolutely phenomenal. But there is just too much going on. And I just remember like when the movie ended and he runs over to Nicole Kidman, even when they were filming it was almost like, we're going to have a go over to Nicole Kidman because we've kind of established her as the love interest.
Why?
There's nothing to it. There's nothing to it.
I mean, the first thing I want to say is, where the fuck did John C. Reilly come from? Because I completely forgot he was in this film. Jesus Christ. And he's just out. But again, John C. Reilly will pop up at like that guy to me came again into existence with like Talladega Nights and being friends with Will Ferrell and doing these things. And
I was hoping he was going to be playing the same character. I was like, it'd be awesome if his name was the same as in Talladega Nights. But
then you get you get him pop up, and like he's popped up in what did I watch recently? For Love of the Game, which is underrated as a baseball movie
The
with
Kevin Costner
Kevin
one.
Costner. Yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah.
problem with that, John C. Riley is good in that as an actor. He can't catch for shit. You can
Oh
see
no,
the
no, he
way
get no,
they
he
totally
gets.
have to. You never see him throw
But in all
balls
fairness,
off
Kevin
the
Costner
pitch.
can't throw for shit either.
Oh
So
no, no, Kevin Costner's a
no,
sportsman. He can play. I'm not
but
having you go after Kevin Costner. John C. Riley literally cannot throw a ball. They're just like, guys, would you like? He's just backstop. We're not going to have him do anything all movie.
do you know? Do you know what's funny as well? Do you know you said that you were hoping that John C. Riley was he basically was the same character from Talladega
Yeah,
Nights.
because I
Yeah.
thought he was going to be like, it would be great if his name in this was Cal Norton Jr. But the thing is, why didn't they
Well,
just call his character in Talladega Nights Buck Breatherton? It's another fantastic name. It totally works in a comedy.
you ever? I had a different one. I got the Harry Hog theory. I wrote down.
Mm-hmm.
Right after racing, Harry quits. He moves to Long Beach. He opens a hot rod chop shop. There, he meets a young Memphis Reigns, teaches him everything about engines, and accidentally creates the greatest car thief of the '90s. It's canon now. In my mind, it's canon. He's moved there
It
and
lines up.
he's created Gone in 60 seconds. That just
Listen,
happened.
I would love nothing more than them to kind of like retrospectively make like a shared racing car universe where it's like, oh, it's linked to F1, but it's also, you know, if you can get Nicolas Cage up on screen with Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise in some kind of bizarre Gone in 60 seconds F1 Days of Thunder crossover, I am 100% all for it. And the thing is, when you look at this film, you're like, oh, well, you know, is this kind of worthy of a kind of follow up and, you know, like to have a sequel with like Formula One? But I was looking back over the quote unquote best racing movies of all time. And the thing that stands out to me is there aren't actually all that many. There really aren't. Like, you know, you've got F1, you've got obviously, which was released last year, which very much feels like it could be a follow up to this. It feels like it could exist in the same universe. It's like we've mentioned the fact that this is a Tony Scott film, which obviously is aesthetically, but like so many movies from the late 80s, early 90s, it's very much a Don Simpson, Jerry Bruckheimer movie. And it's
Yeah,
no
yeah.
surprise to hear that Jerry Bruckheimer was a producer on F1. And you think, oh, well, he's just a producer. This film got delayed massively because Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer were constantly arguing with Tony Scott about how to frame shots. It's like they're telling the director how to frame shots. And, you know, these are, especially Jerry, because obviously Don Simpson died relatively young. Jerry Bruckheimer is arguably the most successful producer in cinema history, and I don't think anyone has as much, you know,
Well,
impact on movies from a
this is the
producing
film.
perspective.
This is the film that broke his relationship as well, isn't it? With
Tony Scott.
I,
Oh,
no, not
Don
Tony
Simpson.
Scott. No. Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer were fine. It
Yeah.
broke his trust with the studio. I can't remember what studio released this,
Oh, okay, okay, fair enough.
but because it didn't make enough money and stuff
Mhm.
like that, the studio turned around and said, "All right, well, what you got to do is if you want to do your next project, you've got to give us 4 million back of the money we've given you because this film tanked." So they went
Yeah, it wasn't just
on
that.
your
Like
bike,
the
but
stories about the development of this film are somewhat legendary in terms of what they, which I'm
but
sure will come up in facts. I'm not going to jump on that.
they basically said on your bike, and then they ended up with Disney, and all better for it, I think, as they moved on.
Well, I
Yeah,
mentioned that in the intro about the fact that this not only kind of, you know, when you watch this film, it does feel like an 80s movie, other than when Tom Cruise arrives in this movie and he's got that kind of, and I can't decide if his look is awesome or terrible, but
oh,
he's
it's
got like,
terrible. It's
it's like
terrible.
a double collar. He's got a huge black duster, which looks very 90s, but then he's got this like high and tight denim jacket with a shirt underneath. I'm like, there's like
He's
two
also
like it actually sums up this movie perfectly. His look. There are like too many things going on with his look. You're like,
he's
dude,
not
one of those coats has to go.
he's also not big enough to have that kind of superhero or action hero entrance on a motorcycle. It just
Oh,
didn't
come
work.
on.
It did not work.
I don't know about like the height thing.
No.
I don't think is an issue because
Dude, it looked like he was riding his dad's bike. Okay,
I
it
mean,
looked like he was riding his dad's bike. Like dad let him go out for once.
the only
No, it
times
didn't
I
work.
think I have issues with Tom Cruise's height in this film are the obvious ones. Is when he's standing next to Nicole Kidman because
Yeah.
she absolutely towers over him. I mean, you
Why
know,
the
she is.
fuck did they dress her in white for that weird, horrible, dirty kiss at the end?
I don't know. It was very strange. But the thing is, like one thing I'll say about Tom Cruise is that he's another one of those people that he's just become Tom Cruise. He's almost removed from like separate conversations now. But when you see him in this, I'd say like aesthetically, he might be at his peak. Like he is so fucking handsome in this film. Like, yeah, okay, he's like 5'8", whatever. But when they shoot in the right way, I'm just like, the dude looks like a goddamn movie star. He just looks like $1 million.
Until he does that shit-eating grin and that "I stole your soul" smile, laugh. I hate that laugh.
I
All
know you don't
teeth.
get on with that. And
No. But it's all teeth, and I don't get on with
I
it.
mean,
I don't.
he's got a great set of gnashes in fairness, but I mean, this film, like I said, it's like the end of the 80s in terms of how it's structured and also in terms of that excess because it didn't make the money back. And the story is about Jerry Bruckheimer and Don Simpson and the money that was put into this. Basically, after this, everyone was just like, we're tightening the fucking reins on these crazy bastards. And that led a big way in terms of the changes that went into cinema in the 90s. But in terms of this movie and its structure and how much of we mentioned the fact that it's a Tony Scott film and how it's a Bruckheimer Don Simpson collaboration. It's also structurally a fucking Tom Cruise movie of that era by the numbers.
I had it written down where he's a man on the edge. All that.
Oh, well,
shit,
he's
yeah?
not just that. He's a young guy. He's on
Yeah.
the edge. He's got all the talent, but he needs an older mentor to teach him the ropes. You could apply that to Top Gun, The Color of Money, Cocktail, and this. And those movies are all pretty much back to back. He's playing the same character.
He also has the same thing where he has something that calls him a crisis of confidence. And then he meets a beautiful woman. The beautiful woman takes him out of that crisis of confidence. He comes back to save the day.
Yeah, it's the same.
It's literally the was it the narrative structure that he follows. And these films are probably not written like that until he comes along and he goes, no, this is where I want to be. This is where I want to happen.
I mean, it's pretty cliche anyway, and you would get that in a lot of movies of this ilk, but it just seems all the more like, this is the Tom Cruise shtick. And, he does the whole naive thing very well. He plays naive incredibly well as he does in this film. But by the time you get to Days of Thunder, you can see why people might have been like, the obvious comparison is Top Gun for numerous reasons. Yeah. But like I said, if you look back at Color of Money and Cocktail as well, you're just like, it's the same thing. Cocktail is just Days of Thunder with cocktails. Color of Money is just Top Gun with pool tables. It's the same shit. Don't get me wrong, it's successful shit, but it's the same shit. But anyway, sorry, I got sidetracked when I was talking about best Formula racing movies. But I was like, I'm not sure if the Fast movies count. You can make an argument for maybe the first one, the third one, but after that, there's superhero films. Speed Racer, I'd put on the list. I actually think that film's really good. Cars, Ford versus Ferrari, Le Mans from 1971. I was going to be like, Talladega Nights. I was like, it's a comedy, but it's a race film. Someone's put in there. And then there's the, obviously not Driven from Stallone. The best movie would probably be Senna, the documentary, but it's a documentary, so it doesn't count. So suddenly I look back at it, I'm like, there's not that many.
Rush was
I said Rush, yeah.
Oh, you said Rush, did you? Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, I said Rush before I went off on a complete tangent. So
I'd also, you've missed one of the best modern underdog stories.
Go for it.
Gran Turismo.
Dude, Gran Turismo is so bad, it make my dick hurt. I watched it for 15 minutes because I was just like, it can't be that bad. And I love the games. And it's got a pretty cool director. It's not Ben Wheatley. It's who directed that film? It's someone quite successful. Anyway, a director I like, but it's just dropped out of my head. Neil Blomkamp directed it. And I was like, I'll give it like 15 minutes because it's on Sky. And I made it through 10. I was like, this is horrible. It's horrible.
I watched the whole thing.
I would much prefer to watch Driven than Gran Turismo any day of the week. 100%.
I watched the whole thing. Not because I thought it was good, but because there's not many films that I will turn off. If I'm watching a film, I'm just going to finish it. It's not none of this. None of this. I'll give it 15 minutes thing. I'll always carry it on.
I'm talking, because you've made the decision to sit down and watch it. I'm with you. If I'm like, I'm going to watch this film, I don't give it 15 minutes and then turn it off. I'm watching the movie. But with Gran Turismo, I was never going to watch it. But it was on. It was already on. So I was just like, watch like it was midway through the film. It doesn't matter. I know what the fucking story is.
Which one would you watch from start to finish? Gran Turismo or Need for Speed?
Oh. The thing is, I genuinely love the Need for Speed video games.
Basically, the question is, which testicle do you want removed, the right or the left?
I'd probably watch Gran Turismo out of those two. Probably just about.
I think I'd go Need for Speed.
Oh, dude. I mean, the Fast and Furious films are bad enough as it is. Well, no, some of them are, but they've got bad anyway. I don't think I need for Speed in my life. Is Need for Speed more Fast and Furious, or is it closer to something like Gone with 60 Seconds? I don't even know.
No, I don't know. It's his own fucking animal, isn't it? It's really weird. Like, I suppose if you want to do stupid stunts, you're going to go Fast and Furious because there's a scene where a helicopter picks up a car and takes it across like a Grand Canyon in
Mhm.
Need for Speed, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, you get that in the games too a little bit.
Yeah, I just remember Kid Cudi uh, steals a helicopter from an army base or something. So
Mhm,
I
mhm.
would probably put it in the Fast and Furious, and I'm pretty sure that's where when they released it, that's where they put it as well, wasn't it? It was Fast and Furious. When was that
Yeah,
released?
it
Fucking,
was
it was
like
2014.
yeah, it was a while ago. I'm more than happy to forget that film ever existed, if truth be told.
Yeah,
And the thing is, like I said, there aren't all that many racing films, and when it comes down to the best ones, they're often like Le Mans, they're Formula One, and they're this. I actually think NASCAR, and my relationship with NASCAR is relatively limited, but I watched the documentary, which is on Netflix, so it was basically a recap of the season. That's more than enough for me. But the one thing I've always loved is the aesthetic, and this goes back to like Daytona USA for the Sega Saturn and for the arcades. But I just think the cars look amazing. The tracks are great. Like of all the sporting events in the world, like I'd love to go to the Daytona 500, isn't it? That'd be up
yeah.
there with like the Super Bowl and the World Cup and stuff. I'd love to go to like one of the big NASCAR races. And what helps this film, and they explain it pretty well, is the fact that all the cars are ostensibly the same. So, the problem with Formula One, if you're going into that, is that they have to throw so much jargon at you because they have to assume obviously you don't watch Formula One every week. And it's not just, oh, they have so many rules within the race and how important pit stops are and tire changes. It's like the between teams, the difference between cars could be massive. So you could have the best racer in the world, but if he's in one of the cars lower down the order, there is absolutely a glass ceiling. Like he's realistically, unless something goes wrong, he's never going to win the race because he won't have the car. Whereas in NASCAR, theoretically, if you're a really good driver, you should be able to go into any car on the track and technically win the
I
race.
I mean, my argument is there's not much you got to do. You just got to keep turning the wheel left, haven't you? Like sooner or later, you're gonna get to the
Well,
end of the
that's
fucking.
that's the thing, isn't it? Because a lot of the tactics in NASCAR come down to drafting and team orders, all these other things, and that's not really explained. They just go with like basic ass racing, and there is some jargon in this, but I don't know just how prevalent or how distracting it is because I'm not as au fait with NASCAR as I am, say, with Formula One. Like,
I didn't find it distracting at all. I thought it was quite good. Like the
no, I
jargon
thought
that
so
they,
too. I
yeah,
was
just I
just,
mean the jargon they go on about when they talk about the tires or
Mhm.
the weight of the car, things like that. It helps build the universe for me of what's
Yeah,
going on.
because you and I are
So
in the same
yeah,
position. But say when I was watching the Formula One movie, I was like, was there just a lot more of that in that movie, or did I just notice it because I watch Formula One?
but no,
So
I don't
because
think.
because I
I
watch
think the
Formula
difference is
One, every time they do something which would never happen on a Formula One track, I'm like, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure. Or they
so.
start explaining things. I'm like, God, they're overdoing this. But I'm like, it's only because I know the sport.
I think that's so. But I think there's a bit of a middle ground with that because I don't watch
Mhm,
Formula One.
mhm,
But I also thought they kind of over
mhm,
explained
mhm.
things. And when I'm watching it, I'm going, well, fucking, I'm pretty sure that you would have been red carded a long time ago. There's no way
Yeah,
you're doing 4 or 5 fucking
red
technical
carded.
faults,
Yeah,
and being out there, So there's no
red
VAR.
cards for
Yeah,
the
yeah, red card.
Mercedes.
The
Yeah,
ref comes out and calls VAR. No, but so I'll give you. Yeah, with Formula One, I think they were trying to keep everyone happy. With this, it's just
yeah, I
it's
think
it's
so.
it's the action film formula with racing.
100%. I
So
think that's the
I totally
ultimate
agree.
difference, isn't
The
it?
because with this as well, because we've just said about Formula One as well, where it does you would have done that, you would have technically red
Mhm.
carded for all
Yeah, yeah, that's
extended
exactly
purposes.
what it is. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
keep going.
but and it's the same with a lot of sports films as well. They do things in the films because it's cinematic that you wouldn't see
Exactly, yeah.
in games. But because there's a lot of driving a person into a wall or
Mhm, mhm.
intentionally clipping them. Where I'm pretty sure if that happens in real NASCAR,
Red
well,
card.
yeah, red card for
Yeah.
Russ when they're interviewing at the last, when they're interviewing all the drivers. Oh, Cole
Mhm.
Trickle's back. Cole Trickle's good. Cole Trickle, and then Russ goes, "If he comes to me, I'm going to slam him into the wall." Technically, that's a verbal threat of committing harm to somebody else. I don't
It's
think you can
probably frowned
fucking,
upon. I also
yeah.
don't think you can stop mid race to go and try and have an ice cream on the pit wall, which is one of the strangest sequences I've ever seen in a film. But no, I think you're.
The attention, the intent. Sorry to interrupt. The intentional block by Russ when they
Yeah,
come in for
yeah.
the pit stop, and he does that intent. Where's the refs,
Well,
the
that's the
marshals,
thing, right?
whoever it is?
That's one of the reasons I think this movie actually works better than Formula One. Like one of my issues with Formula One, Formula One is a good film, but it's got one foot basically in the 80s, like a Jerry Bruckheimer film.
You are obsessed with comparing these two films just because Joseph Krasinski said, "I
Well,
want
no,
to combine them."
I do think it is the most obvious comparison. I also think it's kind of a good way of pointing out where Daytona, Days of Thunder is particularly successful. It's because, like you said there, it just kind of abandons the rules and reality at some point in the name of being cinematic. Whereas Formula One, because it is a Formula One movie and it's tied to the brand, it feels this need to be really true to the actual sport. So, they had like Lewis Hamilton in as a producer and all these other things. They're like, oh, they wanted to make sure that everything they did in the movie was like true to the sport and could actually happen on a race day. And by doing that for 90% of the time, it means that when they do go cinematic towards the end, it just drags you out of the film. Because all the way through like if they're just doing crazy shit from the start, you're just like, oh, well, it's just a movie. It's fine. But because they commit for most of the movie to a level of realism, once they kind of go well beyond that, suddenly I'm just like, well, this is ridiculous. Whereas Days of Thunder, like you said, it's just go-karting. It's just cinematic go-karting, which looks amazing. And we should get to the racing because
We will. There's a couple of things I want to say before we get to the racing.
Well, I was just going to say, whatever you say about this film, criticisms we have, when they're out on track, this film is absolute 5-star solid gold.
Before we get to the racing, I just want to say
it
was good to see Fred Thompson again doing his man in charge routine that he's done in pretty much every film he's ever been in. Like fucking hell.
Big John.
Big John
comes out and I was like, don't get me wrong, I love Fred Thompson. He's always playing the same guy and he always does it well. And I was like, wait a minute, who is he? What the fuck's he doing? He's supposed to be the president of NASCAR. It's hardly explained, and he comes and goes like the wind, like most things in these movies. Like you said, like everything else in these films, in and of itself, in its own little universe, the stuff with Fred Thompson is really good. And then you go back and watch the film and go, I probably could have done without him. You probably could have done without him.
But to what you said and to the film's credit, the racing looks great. But it does look great. It looks fantastic, cinematic again, right up until you get into the cars of the drivers. That's when it has a bit of an issue. I mean, for starters, Tom Cruise is basically running. Everything he is doing in that car, is like he's doing his running scenes. Everything is fast paced, and he's like, It feels like if you took the car out of it, he would race the NASCARs himself.
I get it though. Because the other side of that, I've seen people who try and downplay it, and as a movie we mentioned earlier is Speed Racer. It's tricky. Basically, you're sitting still, they put a camera in your face and they say, be dramatic. And if you look at Emil Hirsch in Speed Racer, all he does is pierce his lips and look like he needs to have a poo. And you're just like, it just looks silly because they keep cutting back to him and he's just got the same silly ass face. So I appreciate what you're saying, but I think the actors are on an absolute hiding to nothing with these sequences. It's just like, do something. Do what? I'm sitting in a fucking car. It's like you have to do something. This is the internal shot.
There was a lot of for basically just driving around in a circle though. There was a lot of when you're in the cars of you turning that wheel way too much. I'm sorry.
There is a bit of that.
Like you are turning that wheel way too much for you just driving in a pretty much a straight line.
It's kind of like when you watch a TV show or a movie where somebody's playing a video game and then you suddenly decide to kind of tune in on their hands and you're like, what the fuck are they playing? Well, they're just pressing all the buttons all the time. You're like, that's not how you play a video game.
The other thing about that with those video games as well, because modern controllers have ruined it for us now, gamers who watch films, because they're meant to be playing, well, your controller's not on. Where's the light?
Oh,
the controller's not on.
Or there's a bunch of adverts back in the day where it'll be like a kid with his Nintendo and his family, and you realize the Nintendo's not plugged in, the controller's not plugged into the NES. It's like, well, this is just absolute bullshit.
Or they've got a console, but playing a game that isn't on that console.
Oh yeah, I've seen that before.
You're like, what the fuck is going on?
Or the controller doesn't match the console. There'll always be something. But you think nowadays, with video games being so much more mainstream and everything, you think they'd get it right. Or somebody would step in and go, whatever it is you're doing with your hands, you need to chill that the fuck out. But they definitely steer too much. But for the external shots, it must have all been shot on race days. Because, you think of like Rocky back in the day, famously, that's a great looking movie. But if you go back and watch the opening fight, you realize there's only like 5,000 people in that stadium.
I had a question about that. Thank you for bringing that up. Because at the beginning of the film, when you have the bird's eye views of NASCAR and everyone's setting up, and you got like you got all the racers and the real racers, and then you've just thrown Michael Rooker in there for. And you think, fucking hell, how did they film that? Because you don't know if it's extras, if it's anything like that, or if it
There's
is
just too
on
many.
race
It just
days.
has to
Yeah,
be. All I can think, and I wasn't able to find. I'm sure it's out there. I just didn't manage to find it. Is kind of similar to what was the UFC film with the recent one?
Warrior.
No. It came after that with what's his name? Donnie Darko. Um,
Oh, Roadhouse.
Yeah, Roadhouse. Yeah, Roadhouse. That's
Yeah,
the one I was thinking of.
yeah.
So he's a UFC fighter in that, but they actually filmed his fight sequences during
They
a
filmed
UFC
his
event.
entrance. Yeah, they filmed his entrance during
Yeah,
that.
and I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
they did the same thing. You know, they kind of did the similar thing with like the NHL back in the day, where it's just, you know, I think it was like Sudden Death. Sudden Death's the NHL one, isn't it? With Van Damme. I'm not mixing those ones up.
Well, are you talking about the one with Van Damme or the Sudden Death remake with Michael Jai White, which
Definitely
is
not
pretty much
talking
the
about that one.
exact same film?
No, I'm talking about the one where inexplicably Jean-Claude Van Damme ends up playing like in the sticks for like the fucking Edmonton Oilers for like 10 minutes
Yeah,
and nobody
yeah.
notices. It turns out he's just like a really good goaltender. But like basically the NHL were just like, we're all in on this. You can use the teams, even though we're going to like ostensibly the terrorists are going to blow up the stadium in the movie. You know, because I think it was supposed to be NFL initially, but NHL were the ones who said, fuck it, you can do that. So they were all in. So they were able to use the stadium. They were able to film when there was an actual game on. And you have to think they did the same with this. And obviously, you know, there was some of the actual racers from like the late 80s, early 90s are in this film. And to be honest, you wouldn't know. They're pretty good actors. They're only in it like for brief bits when they're doing their interviews, but they're obviously talking about Cole as if he's like part of the NASCAR lineup. And I was just like, they just sound like interviews. You know, and again, if I was going to compare it to F1, they have all like the constructors and stuff, and you know they have interviews with them during the film, during the movie, and you're just like, oh, that stands out like a sore thumb. They're just not very good. But in this, the races are good.
So I've just had a look, and yes, they filmed at real NASCAR tracks. So Charlotte Motor Speedway, Daytona International Speedway, not replicas, the actual tracks. They used the real NASCAR cars modified for cameras. They built custom high-speed camera cars. Real NASCAR drivers performed the racing, which I would have thought. The crashes were a mix of real stunts and controlled rigs. They filmed during real NASCAR events, so
crashes
the production captured the real crowds, the real pit lane activity, the real race day atmosphere. Speaking of crashes, I'm going to stop talking because you mentioned the crash. That crash that kicks him out of there at the end race, where there's a big crash on turn 4, and you got Harry going, "You can make it, just go high, you can make." And
oh yeah, like the follow up to like the crash from earlier and stuff. Yeah.
But he goes through a mental, a figural and literal fog in his mind. As soon, like he goes through that, he's out the other end, and he's cleared it of his mind as well. And when he did that, I was like, "All right, you've pushed that a bit too far on us to say he's cleared."
Well,
his,
I mean, aesthetically, my favorite sequence in the film. I quite like the fact that this movie, despite you know aforementioned, maybe they felt the need to hit the ground running, so to speak, because of so many plates spinning. But the fact is, this film starts. Basically, Tom Cruise rocks up in his motorbike, either looking awesome or terrible, depending on you ask on this podcast. And basically, immediately, he's in the car. They do a great, you know, we mentioned the fact that, you know, about the jargon. I'm not sure if it makes sense, but I actually thought it was quite ingenious. The idea that Tom Cruise doesn't know anything about cars. So whenever Harry is explaining it to, you know, Tom, he's really explaining it to us, but it makes sense narratively. And I only really noticed that to such an extent because on the weekends, I watched Inception for the first time in ages, which is still a fantastic film. But, and I know I'm not the first person to say this, but the level of exposition in Inception, I know it's required because it's quite a complex film, but it's so poorly hidden in that film. Basically, you've got Elliot Page stands with him, like he's there. Well, it's he now, but she at the time. He is with Leonardo DiCaprio for the entirety of that final showdown where they go in through the kicks, and she has no reason to be there, no reason whatsoever, other than to ask him stupid questions, which you would never do in that situation. And of course, she's asking on behalf of the audience, and it's so unsubtle. Whereas at least in this, and I get it, NASCAR is a lot more straightforward than Inception, but they narratively build it into the film. So when Tom Cruise asks a dumb question on our behalf, there is at least a storytelling reasoning behind it, which helps, I think, somewhat.
Yeah.
But anyway, to go back to the races, they go. The montage in this film is 15 minutes into the film, the racing montage. Usually it's 90 minutes in. In this film, it's 15 minutes in. But it really is for me, because we mentioned the fact that the last race is a little bit underwhelming because there's too much going on. It's that big second race where the big crash between Cole and Rowdy.
Yeah.
Rowdy happens. I think that's the real star of the show, and I think the film actually peaks
Yeah,
there and
because
never quite recovers.
that starts giving you the fact that like they hate each other, so you start feeling the animosity. It's like
Yeah.
he keeps bumping his bumper. He said, "Oh, let him go past." He won't let him go past. Points him forward, and then Rowdy's pride and everything can't let the rookie beat him. Fine,
Well, that's what you think
and
the
then they
whole
get
film's
into
going
the
to
big
be.
crash. Yeah, that
But
you
that
do. But
film,
yeah,
the film ostensibly dies there. Like the film you think you're watching, where it's building up this competition between him and Rowdy, it ends there, and the crash. Like you mentioned, they're a little bit heavy-handed later, where Harry's like, "No, no, you can trust me this time. Go through the smoke." In fairness, once he goes through the smoke, there's still like a whole bunch for him to dodge. So I think he understood the
the other thing
threat.
about that smoke, I know you wanted to mention, but you mentioned the smoke. They make a big thing about him clearing the smoke. You can drive through it; it's fine. But in 30 seconds, he's going to be back going through that exact same smoke. It's
Yeah,
not disappeared.
yeah, I don't know how that. Maybe they clear the tracks. And who knows? Who knows? But when they do actually have the track, the crash, the way they shoot that, the way he drives through the smoke is so fucking Tony Scott.
Yeah.
And then the crash is amazing. But then the cut between the crash and then them suddenly in hospital is just so quick.
Jarring.
The crash happens.
Jarring.
It is
Yeah.
jarring.
Yeah.
Jarring is the
Yeah.
correct word. And for the rest of the film, it's basically they've kind of painted themselves into a corner there because obviously up until that point all the kind of stress of the film is about, well, obviously it's about him and Harry, but him and Harry, Cole and Harry are best buddies now, so that's fine. So it's between him and Rowdy, but then all of a sudden out of the blue, because they've had this crash, Rowdy's his best friend. And because Rowdy's narrative is now driving Cole's fear of getting hurt, and that impacting the second part of the film, you're like, well, he can't go onto the track anymore and race because he's driving that element of the narrative. So then all of a sudden they're painted into a corner like, we need to find a reason for him to like win the last race other than it's nice to win the Daytona 500. So
It's
that's
basically
where Carrie
win it for
Elwes,
me. Yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah.
it's not enough because they've only been friends for 2 minutes. So they even try and add that layer where it's like, dude, you have to drive my car because my family are potentially broke. That falls fucking flat as well.
I don't think, like I said, yeah, okay. What we saw, that's basically. But I think there's an hour of them becoming friends and doing things. There's a montage of them hunting and doing a lot of other stuff. It's all on the cutting room floor. Yeah.
No,
I wanted to.
agree.
Sorry, we've said a lot, and I wanted to go back because we mentioned about the motorbike, and this fucking won't leave my head now. And we said one of us thinks it's cool, one of us thinks it's like awful. I must have I don't know if I have a what looks cool on a motorbike then. Because I said he's too small for a motorbike. It looks like he's got his dad's car. A couple of months ago, we did Stone Cold with Brian Bosworth on a motorbike. And I said he looked awful on a motorbike because his hands were too close together and he was too big. And are we going to switch him? Like, take Brian Bosworth off his bike, put it on Cole's bike, and vice versa? Would that be the perfect?
Maybe that would work. Who knows? I mean, like I said, I actually thought they both looked pretty cool. You seem to have an issue with guys on motorbikes specifically.
I mean,
I'm not a motorbike guy.
It's Sons of Anarchy, isn't it? It's kind of ruined it for me.
Yeah, that probably makes sense. You're a Sons of Anarchy guy. So I just want everything to look like, as long as they do the slide from Akira, I don't really give a shit. But like his introduction, and basically, again, they do a similar thing with F1. It's just him coming through the smoke. I'm just like, all right, it's silly, but it's kind of fun. And you need that cool introduction because, like I said, Cole doesn't have much of a narrative at the start. It's just get in a car. Oh, he's fast, but he's going to need Harry. Let's be clear, Harry the car whisperer. Like the first sequence of him building or assembling that first car, the way they film it, oddly erotic. But okay, he's a car whisperer. We'll just get on with it.
I mean, I won't cover it here, but they do have they do have a problem with lighting. There's one clear scene that is in my it's in my Razzies, Razzies and Oscars about the lighting. So I won't go into it here. But the one thing, speaking of Tony Scott, you said Tony Scott film. I did write down the racing shots. Man, they feel like jet fighter POVs, don't they?
Yeah, a little bit. Well, I mean, he directed Top Gun as well, so it all makes sense. But and you can see why he was trying to do the same thing. He's trying to create that sense of speed and reality, which you got with Top Gun. Like if you go back and watch Top Gun, if you want to listen to our podcast, we did it probably a couple of years ago now. Is that the thing that stands out? Is that the jet fighter sequences still look amazing because they're all genuine jet fighters, and you
Yeah.
get that sense of speed and aggression and the sound. And that's what you get with this film. Above all else, beyond the realism of the fact that they were able to shoot on the tracks, get the crowds in, it's like when they are racing, even when you see Cole doing that test lap at the start, the thing that stands out to you, and like you mentioned there, they actually had the real drivers going into this. It's just like those guys are going at a million miles per hour.
Yeah.
And one of the things I've heard about, like, even if you're not into NASCAR, and even if you're one of those people who just see it and go, oh, they're just going around in a circle, is that when you go there, the aesthetic of seeing that many cars going that fast in such close proximity and the sound that it makes is what sells you on it. It's like there's nothing else quite like it, supposedly. It's like if you're in the crowd and those fucking 40 cars go past and they're all like
Oh yeah, yeah.
lined to
Yeah.
stern.
I can
The
imagine it being
sound and
deafening. Yeah.
and like I said, one of the things I love, like I love the merch, I love the stickers, I just love like there's something about the look of basketball.
You're
which I'm
going to
just
be.
like, I'm
I
all on
picture
board.
you going full on. You're going to be the guy in the center of it.
Mhm.
On the camper vans, you know,
Oh,
they put their
100%. Tailgating.
beach chairs on top of the camper vans and just watch it all go round.
I love all that shit. Love it
Speaking,
all.
because you mentioned that like the sound it makes and everything, we haven't mentioned the score.
Oh, the
I
Hans Zimmer score.
I adore the score, but and Hans Zimmer, yeah, but I wrote down as I'm listening to it, it feels like he went full guitar solo on a mountain. Like you can picture him
Oh
just
yeah.
up there shirtless, just the fucking score is brilliant. I think it's
No, I,
great.
I I had a weird relationship with it because when it first started, I was just like, oh, I'm not sure about this score. And then as the movie went on, it totally grew on me. So I
Yeah.
had like real doubts at the start, like the opening sequence in particular. I was like, I thought this was Hans Zimmer. It didn't sound like Hans Zimmer. And then the guitars really kicking. I was like, okay, it's Hans Zimmer. And then about halfway through, I decided I loved it. Although, in terms of a musical perspective, the one that really stood out to me was when, they're having their kind of the romantic elements of the film, when it's all Cole and Tom
Yeah.
Cruise and Nicole Kidman. And they have, during the love sequence, Show Me Heaven by Maria McKee. I forgot how much I love that song. I fucking
It's a good
I was
song.
like, at that point, I'm like, I'm not even sure if this scene works, but if you've got that song next to it, I just buy it as being romantic. But yeah, it's another of those things. This movie sounds and looks great. Like all the individual elements of this film, I would go as far as say are fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It just never quite comes together as all. It is sadly one of those movies that's less than the sum of its parts. It's like
Yeah.
you watch it and you're almost like by the end, you're just like, I should have enjoyed that more. Like I like all the, like if you ask me about any individual bit, it's all thumbs up. I'm like, oh yeah, I love the direction, I love the score, I love the look of it, I love the actors, I love it. And then what do you think of the movie? I'm like, it's okay. Just somehow it kind of doesn't quite gel, does it? And I think your point is the correct one. There's like an hour's worth of material which is on the cutting room floor,
Yeah.
and it just realistically they should have just been like, one of these characters just has to fucking go.
Do you know what was insane as well? Aside, take the NASCAR out of it.
Mhm.
Any other car in its film was like like you bought it all from a used car dealer. The rental cars that they race,
Oh,
Doctor like
that sequence is mental.
Nicole Kidman's car
Yeah.
is like she hand
Oh,
me down 90
every
like
other
it's
car is basically, like Top Gear's reasonably priced car where they like
yeah
drive around the track.
yeah.
It's basically that.
Well,
But I would argue the most dangerous looking sequence in the film is
is
when
the
Cole and
yeah
Rowdy are racing rental cars around the sea. I'm just like, dude, you're both going to end up in prison. You
you
can't
said top
drive like this.
you said Top Gear as well. It's it's a thing, isn't it? Top Gear said the fastest car in the world is a
Mhm.
hire car.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because
You just drive like a fucking
you
psycho.
can rag the fuck out of them, yeah, for some reason, and just
I
pay the
mean,
little bit of
they
insurance. There's
push the
I
limits.
think, hopefully, I'll get to it in facts if I can find it. But apparently, that's a nod to a NASCAR driver who used to
Mhm.
do that. Oh, there you go. I got so the scene where Cole and Rowdy destroy a pair of rental cars by racing them through the city streets
Mhm.
is loosely referenced to early 1950s NASCAR superstars Joe Weatherly and Curtis Turner, each of whom were known to rent cars, race, and crash them with abandon.
See, that's all. And you could get away with that shit in the 50s. But that's one of the
Yeah,
things about this film. It's like most of the movie is at least loosely based or at least inspired by like numerous famous faces and moments from NASCAR history. So Cole Trickle is like loosely based on racer Tim Richmond. There's moments linked to drivers such as Dale Earnhardt and Rick Hendrick. And basically, they've just taken this amalgamation of NASCAR history, whether it be on track or off track, and just smudged it all together to make this film, which I actually think is pretty cool. Don't do the whole, oh, this film is based on a true event. have it based on 17 true events to make it more exciting. And again, that's why this movie tonally is spot on, because it's got 1 foot in NASCAR, but it's just nods to the history. But basically, it plays like the video game version. They just fuck the rules. Just put your foot down, and we're just like Tony Scott's just basically doing. If it looks cool, it's going on fucking screen. Like you said, they're all playing bumper cars towards. I know you do have impacts in NASCAR, but guys just driving them off the road. I'm just like you said earlier, red card for sure.
Did you notice the Burt Reynolds cameo?
I didn't.
Yeah. The final race, gentlemen, start your engines. Burt Reynolds.
That is pretty cool. If you're going to get somebody to do like a quick audio, it's like, why not get Burt Reynolds, I suppose?
Yeah, might as well.
Very nice, very nice. But yeah, I mean, like you said, they race rental cars, they race NASCARs, they race fucking wheelchairs in this film.
Yeah.
It's just like, at any moment, like, can we turn this into an action sequence?
But
that's the thing, like you said earlier, it's more of an action film than it is a racing film in many respects.
They did so much racing, and then all of a sudden, 30 seconds later, best friend. Fucking stepbrothers again. Did we just become best friends?
It's exactly that. It is exactly that. They're just like, wait, we just dude, you like racing wheelchairs as well? We should be fucking best friends forever. I'm going to race for you. I'm going to race in your car. It's, again, this film is dumb as a bag of hammers, which is fine. But it's just like, you've got to put a bit more meat on the bones in these relationships, guys. Like, and that's the thing though, isn't it? Like you said, if there was like an hour's worth of footage, which would have turned this into a much more well-rounded movie and experience, do I really want to see the 3-hour version of Days of Thunder? No, this movie's long enough as it is. I would just prefer more of it cut out than
I still argue you've cut the wrong thing. Because put that in, but then cut out the whole romance with fucking Nicole Kidman. It's not needed in this film, from my personal point of view.
No,
it's not needed.
But they were always going to have a love. There was always going to be the love interest.
Because it's a Tom Cruise vehicle. Of course it is. Honestly, Tom Cruise can't get out of his crisis of confidence unless a woman drags him out of it.
I'm going to reverse engineer this, and I'm going to say that the only reason they had the Nicole Kidman love interest is so they had an excuse to have what, in a movie full of mental sequences, the most insane sequence is the cop stripper sequence.
Oh, yes.
Which I forgot happened, didn't see coming, and then when she just feels him, and she just gets her tits out, I'm like, oh yeah, this is still an 80s film. They just got to have an excuse to get the 80s. But then when they meet in hospital, and he like puts her hand on his penis, I was just like, wait, was that whole batshit sequence where they got pulled over by the stripper just to kind of felicitate a meet cute between Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman? I'm like, I think it was, which speaks to just how bananas the vast majority of this movie is, the truth be told.
All right, should we move on? I think I'm done with all my notes.
I mean, I could ask the question about how they got that many flowers into Nicole Kidman's apartment without, who let them in to plant all those flowers. We have no idea. An overly friendly concierge, perhaps. But yeah, I mean, I think we've just about covered everything else. Oh, I just have to ask: were you surprised at the very end of this film? So obviously he's gone over to Nicole Kidman. Nobody gives a shit. He then goes over to Harry. And then he decides to have a foot race with Tom Cruise.
I wasn't surprised that Tom Cruise found a way to run in a film, but fucking hell, Robert Duvall can book.
He can shift, right? He can fucking shift. I was like, Jesus Christ! Like, you think, oh, Robert Duvall's running. I thought it was going to be like a classic Rocky 3 moment where you've got Carl Weathers pretending to run at 50% speed so he can stay behind Sylvester Stallone. I was just like, wait, Tom Cruise is running behind Robert Duvall and he looks like he belongs there. Robert Duvall could shift, man, and he was like 60 years old. The thing is as well, Robert Duvall was 60. He looked like 85. And that's one of the great thing. This film is full of people who have looked the same forever. John C. Reilly has looked 50 forever. Robert Duvall looked 70 his entire career. Tom Cruise is a fucking vampire. It's just full of people. Cary Elwes is another one. Yeah. He looks the fucking same.
Randy Quaid is ageless because he always looks like Cousin Eddie.
Yeah,
fucking, you just don't know how old Cousin Eddie is. He's just ageless.
Dude, you could remake this film now with all the same people, and you wouldn't have to change any of the roles. They all fucking look, except for Robert Duvall, who's sadly passed away.
I mean, bless him. Unless you're wheeling him in,
but right, in fairness, say you'd made this 5 years ago. I think they could have pulled it off. Anyway, let's.
When did he stop? When did he stop acting? He was acting up until he passed away, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was still working.
Yeah, Robert Duvall. Yeah,
fucking awesome. And every time we mention Robert Duvall, I feel like we're always looking for an excuse to bring up Open Range just because it's a Western we both love, which not enough people have seen.
Love Boss Spearman in that film.
Dude, seriously, if you're listening to dude, like like everyone listening,
Dude,
just
dude,
dude.
dude.
If you haven't seen, I think it was released in like 2002-ish. It was early
Three,
2000s,
three,
2003.
three. Yeah.
Do yourself a favor, go out and watch Open Range with Robert Duvall and Kevin Costner.
Fucking, I
It
might have to
is
watch it again.
elite. Yeah, me too. I've not seen it for a
Yeah.
while. Favorite scene?
Yeah. So, I mean, not surprising it's going to be a driving scene, but for me, it's the first time Cole really lets the car off the leash. You know, there's a moment early on when he finally stops pretending he understands stock car racing and he just drives. You got the engine roaring, the camera locks onto cruise. And it's like the whole film kind of snaps into place at that time. It's pure Tony Scott, sun bleached, heat haze, metal screaming, tires melting, and he just books it. It's just it's the scene just after when him and Harry
Second
become
time you
best
said that.
friends.
I like the idea that you're bringing back Book. Like I feel like that was like an 80s thing. Book it. Oh, dude,
Sorry,
we got a
yeah.
book.
I've
No,
also-
no, I'm
yeah.
all for it.
Yeah.
Like, hey, listen, I ruined it because usually you try and do it subtly. You just start saying the book, and then everyone's like, "Wait, is he bringing it back? Is this cool?" And then I've already brought it up. I've kind of ruined it, but you know, I'm all for
And
it.
I'm not going to mention it again, but
Oh, fuck! See, I told you I've ruined
yeah.
it. My apologies. I should have kept my mouth shut.
I enjoyed that scene. I like it was the moment that the film really started to feel its presence. If you you know, we know what
No,
we're
no,
doing. We're
gotcha.
just going to drive fast.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I thought
I,
I really enjoyed that scene.
and just your point about Booker, I just want to be clear. Like, I found myself maybe a year or two ago, I just randomly started using dope, unironically, and
Dope.
I just couldn't stop. And I was using
Yeah.
it in work. I was like, oh, yeah, that's dope. That's dope. And then it just dawned on me. I was like, wait, when did you start saying dope unironically? But anyway, it's part of my lexicon
Oh,
now.
because of you, I use Ace quite a lot.
Oh, I use Ace a lot. Yeah.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
apologies for adding that
That's
to
okay.
your
That's no worries.
vocabulary.
I'm keeping book. But
Oh, yeah,
if we're
no,
going to
I'm
do
all
something,
for it.
we're going to book it. Yeah.
I might just throw it in when I'm back in the office. Just throw it casually into conversation, see how it does. My favorite scene, I've already mentioned, it's the race at the Firecracker 400 at Daytona, and specifically the crash sequence. So I know they kind of, you know, it plays a narrative role because, you know, you have the same sequence basically later on in the final race when he has to drive through the smoke, and this time he can trust Harry. But when he does actually crash, just the way, it's such a Tony Scott scene, the way he drives through the smoke, it just looks $1,000,000. It's like you could never recreate that with CG. If you shot that today, there's just no way it's looking any better.
No.
So yeah, I could have picked just about any of the races, and for the most part, thanks to the cinematography, thanks to the direction, nearly every shot in this film looks great.
If you shot that today, it'd be in slow motion with him moving fast through it, looking everywhere, you know, seeing people on fire as they've crashed.
They would add CG, and it's never quite the same. Because even if the CG looks realistic, as soon as they pull off a camera move, which you know can't be pulled off by a camera, your brain immediately says, "Oh, I'm watching CG." Then that's the problem sometimes. As good as the CG might be, as soon as you see something where you're just like, "Well, a camera can do that," you're just like, your brain goes, it's computer generated, and it just doesn't have the same impact. It just doesn't. And it's one of the reasons that aesthetically, at least, this film is aged like a fine wine. I was going to say Rob Take. Of course, I need Miss Rob Take. My apologies.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, we
Do
did.
you
miss
have
one,
one?
didn't we? Well, I do. So I've got to go with the magic tires. They explode, they reform, they melt, they regenerate depending on the emotional needs of the plot. You know, it's NASCAR by the way of Hogwarts.
The cars do the same
Those
as well. I'm not sure if you
fucking-
noticed.
Yeah.
It's like 1 minute they're all banged up, then they're back to brand new. And that is one of the issues with shooting with real cars, is that as soon as you try and do it kind of chronologically, you're just like, oh, we fucked up this car, but we need a reshoot. So back in you go, despite the fact that the cars are in a completely different state.
Yeah. One reshoot they had to do, which is quite funny. I'll jump in there because we mentioned reshoots. They did the whole thing. They did the reshoots. They did the editing, and then they realized they actually hadn't filmed him crossing the line at the end of the film.
Cost
So
loads.
they had to go back and do it again.
It's a hell of an oversight, that is.
Yeah.
Hell of an oversight. Oscar season, in which we hand out 3 Oscars and 3 Razzies in categories of our choosing. Would you like to go first?
Yes, thank you. I would like to. I don't know why I'm being very formal,
Good,
but we will.
I was going to say, it all became very formal, very polite.
Yes. So the Oscar for the best mentor, who definitely has a past he's not talking about, goes to Harry Hogg. He's grumpy, brilliant, traumatized, and speaks in riddles like a man who's seen way too many engines. Too many engines explode and too many drivers die. He's basically Yoda if Yoda chain smoked and turned collaborators.
Mm-hmm. Good shout. Does he smoke in this film?
Do you know what? I don't know if he did he?
No,
I've written that down. I don't think he did, no.
No, I was just thinking, does anyone smoke in this film? I watched a movie recently where everyone was fucking smoking. I was like, Jesus Christ, you know, back in the 80s, everyone used to.
So lately, I watched, because I'm waiting for Bloodhounds, which is a fantastic Korean drama TV series on on Netflix. The second
Mhm.
season's coming in April. Uh, and I've been watching lots of recommendations. Watch this Korean, watch this,
Mhm.
and uh, fuck me, they love a smoke even in the now in
Oh,
Korean drama.
dude,
Oh my
Koreans, and you
god,
notice in so many countries, like if you go to like, I went to Milan not long ago, and you just like, suddenly realize there's nobody vaping there. Everyone's smoking cigarettes.
yeah.
I just come back from Bulgaria a couple of weeks ago. Everyone, and I mean everyone in Bulgaria smokes cigarettes. Nobody gives a fuck. You go to these countries like, oh yeah, everyone still smokes, and then you come back home, or you go to the US and everyone's fucking vaping or
No,
nothing
that's
at all.
because we're all moaning, and we are damn proud of moaning. Like £16, and you're taking a cigarette away from me. You know, you can't buy a pack of 20
Well,
anymore.
that's
It's
the
a pack of
difference.
19.
Even in like if you go to Milan, it's like I went because I smoke when I'm on holiday. I went to a cafe. I bought a coffee. Again, I only drink coffee when I'm on holiday as well. I had a coffee and I bought 20 cigarettes and it came to like €5. You go
Yeah.
to Sofia, you can buy a pack of 20 for like £3. It's just like I like who can afford to smoke in the UK? I like once a year I'll go and buy a pack of cigarettes when I'm drunk, when I'm back home in Cardiff. It'll be 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'll go and buy 20 Camel, and the guy will be like £20. I'm like, what the
It's
fuck?
funny because you have done that, and you've met me the day after, and we talked
Mhm.
about it, and you are nursing those cigarettes. You're like, I don't want to buy anymore.
100%. Yeah, because that's the thing. Once I buy a pack, I'm like, I'm not buying another pack, and that's not even like financially related, but also kind of financially related.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want to spend another 20 quid on cigarettes. Yeah, absolutely bonkers.
Right. So back to Oscars.
Yes,
The
The cigarette zone is over.
yeah, the best use of Tom Cruise running while seated. Win a cold trickle. He drives like he's sprinting. He shifts gears like he's trying to punch the gearbox into a new dimension. Every lap is a cardio workout. I just couldn't get over the fact that he had running
You,
face while he was doing
what
it.
I always find interesting in movies and American movies as well is like you can get away with it more in the UK. Is that idea of like you're shifting gears as you speed up with an automatic, you just put it in drive. So they like aggressively push the car into drive. I'm like, you're already going to be in drive. Whereas at least in like if you're driving a British car and you're in like fourth, fifth gear and you're like, I'm going to shift into sixth because I'm really going for it now. In America, they always seem to do this gear shifting. I'm like, wait, aren't they just putting it into drive? That's
Yeah.
kind of stupid, but it looks cool. But yeah, silly.
And finally, the Oscar for the best cars that should be fighter jets goes to Days of Thunder. Like
Mm-hmm.
fucking hell, even the sound of them,
Oh, great.
it sounds
Love
like
them.
jet engines.
I love the fact that they're not even like when you see them, you're like, it's the livery. Is that it? Livery, not livery. I said this wrong before. It's
Livery?
livery,
No,
isn't
no,
it?
I believe it's livery. Yeah.
Livery, yeah. The whole car is a livery, so there are no lights on the front. But
Yeah.
they make it look like a real car for advertising purposes. So it's like those lights on the front; they're just drawings. Like
Hmm.
they're not real things. Speaking of, we totally forgot to mention mellow yellow.
Mellow yellow. Yeah.
Yeah, the advertisement that they had for the team, like I only know Mellow Yellow from The Simpsons when Homer sings a song about it. It's not a thing in the UK, but supposedly based on this film, Mellow Yellow then went on to sponsor an actual NASCAR team, and their sales went through the roof because of this film, ostensibly. But I'm like, Mellow Yellow's this thing I've heard about in movies and TV shows, but for people in the UK, I don't know what the fuck it is. No idea.
Okay, are you actually going to say where it is, though?
No, I have no idea what it is.
All right,
It
hang
just
on.
popped into my head as you were talking about it, like because I was talking about the advertisements and stuff. I was like, oh yeah, Mellow Yellow, and I just think of Homer Simpson. They call me Mellow Yellow.
Oh, of course.
That's all I can remember it from. But I'm sure I've heard about it in movies. It was like when I was younger and watching Ghostbusters, and I was like, what the fuck's a Twinkie? Of course we know what a Twinkie is now. But back in like 1990, they didn't sell Twinkies in the UK. I didn't have the internet to find out. I was just like, what the fuck is this magical Twinkie thing that Egon's eating? I have no idea.
I went to Farm Foods the other day,
Mhm.
local UK like the discount buy everything
Yeah,
frozen
yeah.
store, and they had cakes, and they had a UK version of Twinkies, and I'm
Nice.
not lying. I couldn't believe when I saw it. It's called cream filled sponge cake.
Dude, if you have a Twinkie, all they are Swiss rolls. They're just
Yeah,
Swiss rolls, but not in rolls. Just in whatever. I don't even know what the fuck a Twinkie shape is, but a Twinkie is just a different shaped Swiss roll. And because everyone's like, you have all this build up. People now be like, "What are you on about with Twinkies?" It was a big deal when we were younger, when Twinkies suddenly became available in the UK. I remember like it was a big deal trying one for the first time when I went to America, and everyone's like, "Oh, they're fucking gross." Like, dude, they just taste like Swiss rolls. What the fuck did you expect? They were never going to taste amazing. They're processed to fuck, but I actually think they're fine. Sorry, if you
uh,
found Mellow Yellow yet.
well, no. So I tried looking for it. It's a drink.
Mello. Yeah,
It's
I
a
think it's a
drink.
drink. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
refreshing citrus soda.
Okay, that's what Mellow
Yeah,
Yellow is. I'm not sure
yeah.
if it was worth the build up, but there we go. The Oscar for Best Nod to the 90s and an otherwise 80s movies goes to Cruise's duster over denim triple collar look. It's a hell of a look. It's really is, from an aesthetic perspective, just I'm half in the 80s, half in the 90s. Can't decide what I'm going to do, so I'm just going to be both at the exact same time. Like this movie, he's wearing too many layers. The Oscar for surprisingly great runner goes to 60-year-old Robert Duvall for the reasons we've already mentioned. And the Oscar for best use of a cardboard box goes to every shot with Cruise and Nicole Kidman in it. They obviously like trying to
Yeah.
frame the shots. Like, and I'm not ragging on Cruise for being a short guy. Nicole Kidman is a big motherfucker. She's tall, and it's not like she's got an inch or two on him. She's got like 4 or 5 inch, like she's much, much taller than him. And of course, you notice it in a few shots. And then suddenly in the next shot, you're like, wait, how are they suddenly, eye to eye? But it is what it is. Any Razzies from you?
Yeah, I will say, I don't think it was a cardboard box. I reckon they walked around with those. Do you know those single step stools? Just
Oh,
things
yeah,
like
yeah.
like my kid uses to get to the kitchen counters.
Mhm.
He's probably just got one of like
Well,
he's got a what is it? He's got an entourage, hasn't he? And he's
mhm.
probably just got on payroll step stool guy. Like
Steps to go.
every
Well, the
time.
thing is, in
Yeah.
the UK, historically, it would have been the Yellow Pages. But that,
Yes.
like, our US listeners are gonna have no idea what the fuck we're talking about. It was basically just a phone book. Like, and it was just a famous advert where a kid used the Yellow Pages to kiss a taller girl than him, which, I'm not sure if that's gonna have any cultural relevance, not even beyond the UK, but beyond anyone under the age of like 35, in fairness. So,
Right. So the Razzie for the most aggressively lit hospital conversation.
mm,
The winner is Rowdy Burns' pre-surgery scene. Why is he lit like a serial killer confessing to a crime? Why are the shadows there? Why the menace? He's just talking about racing, not planning a ritual sacrifice. I couldn't get over the lighting when him and Cole are having a heart to heart. And for
yeah.
some reason, Tom Cruise's face is lit perfectly. But
Mhm.
every time it turns to Rowdy, he's half in shadow, and it's like he's confessing to a
It's
crime.
supposed to kind of represent his mental state or something like that, but yeah, like everything else, it's lit and shot dramatically, considering, like you
Yeah.
say, it's just two guys sitting in a room or laying down in a room, as it were.
The Razzie for the least believable medical ethics goes to Claire letting Cole drive again. He's concussed, traumatized, and addicted to speed. She prescribes more speed.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
think she's necessarily the greatest doctor, but she is quite attractive. So,
yeah,
and she definitely sounds more Aussie in this than she does in
yeah.
her later films. That accent definitely leveled out.
I see where your head's at. Yeah, yeah. She can do surgery even though she's not qualified because she's fuckable. Okay.
I didn't say fuckable, but she is quite attractive. I'm just saying why she may have been kind of chosen to, for her role
Yeah.
on screen isn't for a kind of, scientific expertise, put
So
it that way.
was this before Far and Away?
Yes, I believe
Where,
so. Yeah,
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 where he
because
was
this
the
is where they met. Yeah, yeah.
yeah
They
he was
met
the
in
Irish
the
boxer.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not watching that film. I've seen
No.
most Tom Cruise films. I'm not watching that one. Um,
Sorry, one more from
no,
me.
go for it. Go for it.
The Razzie for the most explosive use of tires goes to every race. The tires burst like they're filled with C4, sparks fly like the cars are grinding against the gates of hell.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
For me, the Razzie for most underwritten character of all time goes to Carrie Alwes as Russ Wheeler. It's not his fault. Just has nothing to do. Just be a dick. Not even evil. Just be a bit of a dick. The Razzie for surprisingly underwhelming final goes to the Daytona 500. As I said, they build it up, but they put, if anything, too much on the race. So by the end, you don't know why you care. You're supposed to care for like 5 reasons. That's like 4 too many reasons. So it just kind of happens, and you're just like, okay, I think this is good. He definitely won the race, so that's going to be awesome. But why is it awesome again? I can't really remember. The Razzie for the actor who can't decide if he's a good guy or a bad guy goes to Randy Quaid as Dim Dalland. As we mentioned earlier, absolutely on a coin flip. He's just like, oh, I guess now I'm a bad guy for a little bit. Now I'm a good guy again. He's all over the place. He's still
What's
fun, and we are going through like a bit of a unofficial Randy Quaid sequence after it was Hard Rain he was in as well, wasn't it? And
Yeah.
he's
What
always
did you
good.
call him?
Is it Tim Deland or something?
Sorry, yeah, I thought you called him Dim Dalland.
No,
Sorry,
Tim.
okay.
Oh, when you said that, I was concerned that maybe I got the second name wrong because I don't
You
know how to
called him
pronounce it.
Russ or something.
Just call him
Steve.
Tim. Just
Yeah,
Tim. It's fine.
Tim.
And if I was going to sneak in a fourth one, it'd be Razzie for most insane sequence with a stripper goes to this film. Jesus, that sequence was
Yeah.
bananas. Any alternative titles for this film? Which I hope not, because Days of Thunder, if nothing else, is a dope title.
There are a couple. Now, I will warn you, obviously, translation with thunder. So
Mhm.
we're going to get quite a few weather related ones, I would imagine.
Days of Storm, Days of
Yeah.
Overcast.
Uh, Days of Overcast sold. Move on. We
Yeah,
don't need any
well,
more. Yeah.
you know, if we made this film in the UK, it'd be like Days of Light Drizzle. You're just like,
Yeah.
oh, really? That's what we're going for?
Right. So Bulgaria, Days of Rumbling.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah. Czech Republic, Stormy Days.
Mm-hmm.
Estonia, Thunder Days.
Yeah, that's the same twice, just a
Yeah.
different translation. Yeah.
Greece, Days of Lightning.
Hmm.
Hungary, Like Lightning.
It doesn't work because the thunder's the important bit because it's the
Yeah.
sound.
Korea, Fast and the Storm.
Yeah, maybe.
Poland, Fast as Lightning.
Yeah, different vibe. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Serbia, Tribute to Thunder.
Yeah. Okay.
Taiwan, Thunderbolt Man.
No, that is a completely different movie.
Yeah. And that's it, really. Thunder
Yeah,
Days, Lightning Days. Yeah,
all pretty
all
bad.
weather
Yeah.
related. Yeah.
We will stick with Days of Thunder, methinks. Any facts that we haven't already covered?
Yeah. So production began without a finished script. Scenes were often written the day of filming. During one driving sequence, Tom Cruise actually had to read his lines off cue cards attached to his windshield, which resulted in a minor car accident. For subsequent driving sequences, Cruise was fitted with a special earpiece to have lines fed to him.
Cool.
Uh, what else we got here? The scene where Harry tells Cole to go out and hit the pace car is based on a real life situation with driver Buddy Baker and his crew chief at the time, Harry Hyde, on whom Harry Hogg is based. Quentin Tarantino said this film was his favorite big budget racing movie.
I think that's reasonable. I mean, he's
Yeah.
got his problems, but I get, like you said, there aren't actually that many great racing movies.
All cars used in the all cars used in the movie for the races had to pass inspection and qualify. Bobby Hamilton qualified one of the movie cars in the top 10. They removed the cameras and he was allowed to enter the race.
Cool.
Tom Cruise and Robert Duvall characters. Oh, we've already said this. Tim Richmond and Harry Hyde, so we won't go into that one again. In a recent interview on March the 3rd, 2021, with Dr. Jerry Punch on the Dale Jr. Download, it was revealed that Tom Cruise approved Nicole Kidman to be his love interest in the film after it was suggested the Cruise sees her performance in Dead Calm, after a recommendation by Dr. Punch to director Tony Scott.
Oh, she's good in that.
That's the one with Billy Zane and Sam
Yeah, yeah.
Neill, isn't it? Yeah.
Mhm.
I always get that confused, probably because of the name. What's the one with
There's another. There's one with Julia Roberts, which has a similar vibe.
no, not that one. The one with Robert De Niro who plays Max Cady. No, it's
Oh,
a
Cape
completely
Fear.
different film. Cape Fear.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
always
Well,
get
it's got
Dead
it's
Cam
got the
and
whole
Cape Fear.
sequence on the boat at the
Yeah.
end. It's got when like
Yeah.
the big set piece at the end of the film's on a boat.
Tom Cruise wanted Kurt Russell for the role of Rowdy Burns. It was through Cruise that Russell became aware of Backdraft.
He would have been awesome. He would have been
Yeah.
awesome.
I mean, the lighting would have lit him up better. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, well, he's just got more handsome face. Don't get me wrong. Like, I like Michael Rooker in this film. I think he's perfectly good. But would I prefer Kurt Russell? Yeah, but then Kurt Russell, you could like, apply that to like 99.9% of actors in any
Yeah.
role. And I'd be like, would you prefer Kurt Russell? Yes, I prefer Kurt Russell.
Nicole Kidman wanted to study neurosurgery for her part, but the producers told her it would be a waste of time.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
It's not that kind of film. It's not
Yeah.
that kind of film. Just wear. All you have to do is wear a white lab coat and have a stethoscope, and that is literally it.
Right, last one, and then we can move on. Due to internal conflicts, the wrap date kept getting pushed back. At one point, the production schedule was revised 3 times in a single day, leading the unit production manager, the studio's on-set financial liaison, to confront Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer. In response, they told him, screw the schedule. It went from February 1990 to the end of May, severely jeopardizing its chances of making its expected summer release date. It came out a month later. Unsurprisingly, the budget almost doubled over this wasted time too, requiring that the movie make a then astronomical 100 million merely to break even.
Yeah, that was one of the big issues there. Like it ends up just costing way, way more than it should have. It was still like, I think it made like 170, 180 at the box office. It would have done pretty good numbers on VHS. So it made money in the end, but it put itself in a position where, to be like an outright smash hit, it would have had to make like crazy, crazy money.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Did you notice Margot Martindale in this as well?
I did not.
You know Margot Martindale, don't you?
I do not.
No. So if I
So
showed
maybe
you
I did.
if I show you a picture of her, you would know who she is. She's been in
Okay.
fucking like everything,
Mhm.
But I randomly, I noticed her from. Well, she was in. Did you watch that TV show, The Watcher?
Hmm.
about the family that moves in and their next door neighbors.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's Margot Martindale.
Oh, okay, yeah, got you, got you, got you.
She was the timekeeper at the very first
Oh, when
when they
she's doing the laps and
she's the
stuff.
one on the chair
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Got you, got you.
Sorry, just
It's fine.
randomly, Margot. She popped into my
That
head
was
then.
indeed random. It's absolutely
Oh, and
fine.
she was Ranger Liz in Cocaine Bear.
Oh,
Of
well, I've
course she
seen that
was.
as well.
Yeah,
A movie which, again, like the bike sequence, I like quite a bit, and you absolutely despise, from what I recall.
yeah.
Hug to Future remake sequel, Let It Die, Leave Well Alone. I'm all for Joseph Kosinski's dream project to have this as a kind of spiritual sequel with crossover with Formula One, and to have Cole Trickle racing whatever the fuck Brad Pitt's name is in Formula One. In my head, I'm like the best way to do it would be to have them do like, kind of split the difference and have like maybe IndyCar or something like that. But you've got to think, because F1 was such a big hit and they were so kind of aligned with the movie, that they would want it to be basically F1 2. So I don't know
I
how that
don't know
would
if
work
they.
beyond having like a cameo, because you can't imagine like Tom Cruise coming in and just driving. Well, maybe he could drive Formula One. Who fucking knows?
No, it's not. It's going to be the other way, isn't it? Because they've already hinted, or not hinted. They've
Well, at
said
the end, yeah,
clearly.
he goes away.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they've said clearly that. Oh, I don't know his name in that. Brad Pitt's character's
yeah,
name.
yeah,
He drives anything. He
yeah, yeah,
drove
yeah, yeah.
Baja races, so he could theoretically be a NASCAR driver, as we've already
Well, like I
learned.
said, I think the best way to do it is like to meet in the middle and do like a different, like different sport. But like you said, still
Yeah.
racing, but have them meet in a different sport, because loads of races do that. You think of like Alonso did like the Le Mans 24. Like if fucking Verstappen's doing a different discipline every other weekend. He's not in a Formula One car, so races totally do this. So I'm actually all for a crossover, and especially with Joseph Kosinski, because Tony Scott has obviously sadly passed away. But in terms of like a stylish director who could totally pull this off, yeah, Joseph Kosinski is 100%.
So
And tonally, these two movies kind of exist in the same universe, so I'm all for it.
this is where I think we will differ. I could see a sequel, and I'd be all right with a sequel. I like Formula One. I'm all
Mhm.
right. But if we're saying Kaczynski could do it because blah blah blah, he did a great sequel with Top Gun. That's where we're going to differ.
Mhm.
Because didn't like Top Gun, didn't like Top Gun Maverick. By the by, it's not gonna change my mind. But I did like Formula One or F1 or whatever you want to call it. I don't know any of the Joseph Kaczynski films, if
Tron
I'm honest.
Legacy.
I didn't like that either. Uh,
Well, the thing is, I mean,
so
even if it's not your cup of tea, the one thing he does, like I think, objectively brilliant, is like his films look great. They just look amazing. So even if you don't like Top Gun Maverick, it's like when they're in the planes, when they're flying around, because he uses real planes, you're just like, well, they look phenomenal. And Formula One, even if you're not into Formula One, which whatever, like I totally get it. And I'm not saying you, I'm just talking in general. It's like the races look dope. So on one level or another, it's just like, well, at least the races would look great. And like I said, I'm not like, beholden to Days of Thunder or Formula One. I thought they were both perfectly fun movies, but it's just like, if you give me the option of, do I want a sequel with both of them in it? I'm like, yeah, that sounds fun. Like, it's unlikely to be my favorite movie of the year, but absolutely, why not, as far as I'm concerned.
oh, he did Only the Brave. I actually like Only the Brave. I think that's quite good.
Fucking hipster of all the films, only the brave.
I
Unbelievable.
didn't like Oblivion.
Oblivion's not bad.
Oh, Oblivion's
Oblivion's
terrible.
fine. It's fine. It's a movie of its time, but it's
Yeah.
fine.
But I'm with you. I could do a sequel. I'm all right
Yeah,
with a sequel.
all
Yeah.
for it. Make a change. I mean, it's easy. It's like one less character, one less narrative strands. Make Nicole Kidman a NASCAR driver, or make Rooker his love interest. Just you've got to combine a character somewhere. It would be a very different movie if Rooker ended up his love interest. Although they borderline almost get there at one point. But yeah, like I said, one of them's got to go.
Let's put Nicole Kidman as his missus already. She's come with him. She's the long suffering
Mhm.
wife, and she gets him through the car crash. Fine, happy days. Let's move on. Why do we need this weird fucking neurosurgery angle that just didn't seem to work? I don't know. Just wasn't
Well,
the fun
because
of the
they were
whole
trying to put a
romance.
big emphasis on the whole, like he gets injured and he's struggling with like the mentality aspect of it. The problem is
But
every
he can
time I,
do that. He can do that, and he can have his missus who knows him get him
mm,
through it anyway. You don't have to have this doctor.
you see a lot of love interest there. I'm just like, I think you either have her or you don't. I don't have an issue with her being the doctor because it plays into the narrative. I'm just like, you either just get rid of that whole section completely and just make the emphasis about racing Rooker and his relationship with Harry, or you lose the Harry angle and you make the emphasis about the love interest and him racing against Rooker instead. And that's talking about like dropping one or two things. There's 4 or 5 different things going on in this film. On top of that, it's all just a bit too much, sadly. But we're on the
As
same page, basically. Something's got to go, isn't it?
for me, it's let the film admit it's basically Top Gun on wheels. You
Hmm.
know, have the film works because it's loud, sweaty, and unashamedly macho. But
Hmm.
it keeps pretending it's a grounded sports drama.
One
It
foot in
just
the
needs to
90s,
lean.
dude.
Sorry?
1 foot in the 90s. That's the
Yeah.
problem, like you said.
It just needs to lean fully into the operatic Tony Scott energy. It'd
Mhm.
feel even more iconic. You know, if you let Cole and Rowdy have a rivalry that's super dramatic, not
Mhm.
over in seconds.
And
Uh,
yeah, exactly what we're talking about.
yeah. So I just embrace the madness, I think.
Yeah, no, just simplify the story, make the emphasis about awesome races, and yeah, it becomes maybe a touch more cliche, but I think it works better as a movie. It just does.
Yeah.
I totally agree. In terms of video games, there was a Nintendo, a NES video game by Beam Software. It was like done with like a pseudo 3D art style, which actually looked pretty cool, but the game was rubbish. It has amazing artwork though. But this is the era of like there was Creative Materials made the Amiga and Atari ST version. Tiratex Design made the Commodore 64 version. Argonaut Software did all the other platforms like Game Boy and all this other nonsense. So you've basically got like 7 different video games. But the famous one was the NES one. But like all of them, it was pretty pony to be honest. There was also surprisingly a 2011 version for the PS3 and 360 by Paramount Digital and Piranha Games with Rooker doing voiceover as your like crypt. Sorry, I'm going to cough.
As your pit guy.
Yeah.
He was your pit guy. Yeah. 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 You've gone really red, bless you. I didn't know that they re-released it into the PlayStation and stuff.
Yeah, I've stopped choking now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if it was actually released. I think it was released over here, but it was maybe download only. Either way, it had pretty bad reviews. If you go back and look at the videos, it's all pretty janky. I think they had the right idea. It's not like overly realistic, but it doesn't look as fun as say as like the obvious thing would be Daytona USA by Sega Sega. So it just kind of end up falling into this halfway house. But the collision detection isn't very good. The only thing interesting about it is Rooker coming in to do the voiceover, if truth be told.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I was going to make one, it would be the aforementioned Sega Daytona USA. I mean, Daytona USA 3 came out in the arcades not too long ago. I'd love them to do a home version, a Days of Thunder crossover. It's never going to happen. And by the way, if you do want to play anything Daytona related, the way to go, bizarrely, is the best version of Daytona USA by Sega is actually the little play Daytona 2, which was stuck on like exclusively on arcades for 20 years. You can play it now in its full arcade glory in the most bizarre place. So you know what the Yakuza Like a Dragon series?
Yeah.
In those games, like Shenmue back in the day, you can go into arcades in Japan and play the arcade games. And that version of the game, so Yakuza Like a Dragon, the man who erased his name, it's more of like a kind of spin-off, if truth be told. Like a slightly, when I say shorter, these Yakuza games are super long. So even the shorter version is like 20 hours long. But one of the arcades has Daytona USA 2 in its full format in the arcade games. And honestly, I keep the game just so every so often I can play Daytona in a fake Japanese arcade in another video game. It's all very meta, but it's the best way to play it. And without question, you know, there are the official NASCAR video games, but you kind of have to be into NASCAR to enjoy those because it's, you know, it's got the real races, it has all the rules. You have to have that level of interest. Whereas Daytona USA is just a pure arcade racer. So it looks amazing. It's very straightforward. And if anything, more in the spirit of the Tony Scott movie. So I go with play Daytona 2 on Yakuza Like a Dragon, the man who erased his name. Oh, that is a fucking mouthful.
I'm gonna start the beginning of this and tell everyone to get a drink ready. And every time you say Daytona 2, take a
Mhm.
shot.
Yeah,
People
I
will
said
get
it a lot.
pissed before you get to the
I
end.
feel very passionate. Like I love that arcade game. I was just like, it's never coming to consoles. I'll never be able to play it because the arcade game is you might get lucky and find it God knows where. But then to pop up in another game of all places, I was depressingly over the moon.
I was gonna go with Criterion Games Burnout 3 Takedown.
Oh, great shout. I
Yeah.
fucking love that game. Another game, for God's sake, EA, just re-release that game. A Lick of Paint is one of the greatest races of all time. The money is sitting there, you jackass.
You've got it all like in there, haven't you? You've got like the Crashes film, like cinematic, you know, the rivals who want to kill you but also be your best friend. You know, physics are optional, vibes are mandatory. I just think,
And
yeah,
again, why couldn't you do, especially if they did a sequel, a Days of Thunder spin-off? They did for Top Gun Maverick. They did an Ace Combat Top Gun crossover. So it's
yeah,
Ace Combat the game, but there's a Top Gun Maverick DLC which has all the planes from the movie. It's just like, yeah, do fucking Burnout and just have Daytona cars from this movie for a Days of Thunder spin-off. It'd be amazing. And if nothing else, fuck the Days of Thunder thing. Just bring back Burnout 3 Takedown as one of the greatest races of all time. They made a shitty Gran Turismo movie for heaven's sake. I don't know why that has nothing to do with it. I'm just upset. My apologies.
You are really passionate. You need
Yeah,
to
I know.
fucking lie
Well,
down
it's
after
like
this.
because some of my favorite games of all time are arcade races, and the fact that you can't play Burnout 3 Takedown anywhere reasonably. Outrun 2, you can't buy anymore. Like I'd have to set up my fucking Xbox 360 to play it. It's one of the greatest games of all time, and I've got to jump through hoops to play Daytona. Give me a fucking break. Ridiculous. IMDb. So this is where we pick a random 10-star and 1-star review for this movie. Before we do that, I try and guess how many written reviews there are. Is there quite a few for this film?
Yeah, there's
I was going to say like
a
250 feels about right.
bit lower. It's 190.
Oh, I can live with
Yeah, it's
that.
not too
I
bad.
can
Yeah,
live with that.
10 stars.
Of 190, 10 stars. I don't know, like 32.
Oh, reverse it. 23.
Oh, okay. Again, close
Yeah.
enough.
Right. So this one was written in July 2002, titled "One of the Best Movies Ever" in capitals.
Settle the
Yeah.
fuck down.
I just couldn't help but notice that there are some people out there who think that this movie isn't as good as I think it is. What's wrong with you people? I am a 24-year-old single mother who lives and breathes racing. Maybe that's why I have such a different opinion of the flick. This movie has everything: action, excitement, love,
It's a flick.
humor, and you can't forget the most important factor: racing. I
Mhm.
agree that some of the scenes are a little unbelievable, i.e., the amount of rubbing that goes on would probably never happen during a Winston Cup race. Though I don't think they stretch the movie too far out of proportion. When you start taking movies 100% seriously, then your selection becomes very limited. Sit back, relax, enjoy the good looks, good music, good comedy, and good racing of this movie. And just think, I watch this movie every week before I go racing on Saturdays. I could very
Every
well be
week.
watching it right now.
Wow, the thought of her watching it right now really gets my gears going.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite bizarre.
Comedy?
Yeah, it's a bit of a stretch. Like I said, I quite like a lot about this film. 10 stars feels like a hell of a stretch. But hey,
But for a 24-year-old single racing mama,
well,
I'm
of
guessing.
course, that makes
Yeah.
all the difference. So
That is a
how can I
niche.
pos
That
that
is
is a
a
niche.
niche market.
How can I possibly relate? I'm not a woman,
Yeah.
a single mother, or a racer. So what,
Yeah.
who am I to critique her opinion? 1-star reviews. There's got to be less.
There is less, yeah. There's a
11?
lot less. Oh, 6.
6?
Yeah.
I swear I was gonna say 7, but I was like, some
Oh.
people should have. Anyway, doesn't matter.
So this was written in March 2003, titled "As Silly as You'd Expect."
Hmm,
As
it is
others here have
silly.
noted, this is Top Gun on wheels, complete with screeching guitar at the big moments. It also suspends disbelief. If a doctor slept with a patient, she'd be fired, stripped of her license, and shipped back to home in disgrace. But
All the
here,
things
as
to
in,
pick on. It's so
yeah,
bizarre. Yeah.
but here, as in TG, nobody even questions the affair. Indeed, it's interesting to watch this with all that's gone down. Cruise divorced Mimi Rogers, for which she must be eternally grateful shortly after filming and took up with America's newest sweetheart, then dumped her when the 50-50 clause of their prenup was about to kick in. But don't feel too sorry for Nicole. She reportedly got Tommy Boy to cough up 65 mil, then walked off with the Oscar. What's
Tommy boy.
interesting is that even at this early stage, she had better chops than he ever will, as evident by their scenes with that old ham, Robert Duvall. The Nicole
Fucking hell.
Duvall work are the only good thing about it. The rest is drag. Now, the problem here is this guy sits in my camp. He's
Mhm.
not a Tom Cruise fan. You can clearly see that.
Oh,
But he is
100%, yeah.
he has taken it too far
Mhm.
and has thoroughly attacked him on the film. This film is shit because Tom Cruise is in it. Like,
Yeah, but
all
he's going
right.
out to Robert Duvall as well and all sorts.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Like
Well,
you
actually,
said,
no, no,
all.
no. He said he called Robert Duvall old ham, but he's given. He said the only good thing is Nicole and Duvall
Yeah, when on
together.
screen together.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's still an absolutely mental review. Which brings us to our own scores and recommendations. I suspect we might be on the same page here. For me, it's a very strong 3, but it's a yes. Because I think this film is totally watchable. It's got, the aforementioned numerous issues that we've outlined to death, but fundamentally, this is still a fun movie with great performances. It looks fantastic to this day. And it's just, especially if you're not like, doing it for a podcast and you can just kind of overlook its shortcomings, there's loads of fun to be had. So it's a 3 and a yes for me.
it is definitely a 3 for me, but I think it's a no,
Okay.
only because, as you've said, there's not many racing films out there.
Mhm.
So I don't know many people or the kind the Like you'd think, oh, watch this racing film. If people are a fan of sports films, definitely it's another sport. Go and watch it.
Mhm.
But so I'm thinking about it now. Yeah, there are quite a few sports fans. I mean, I guess it's a yes with a caveat.
I don't think you have to be into racing movies because it just looks cool. It's in the same way, like there's something about it. We mentioned there, like F1's a perfectly decent film, but if anything, NASCAR lends itself better to the screen than Formula One does as a sport. And it's something to do with American sports, which you mentioned numerous times in this podcast, whether it be basketball, American football, hockey, whatever. It's just they look great on screen in a way that, say, we would call it football, but say soccer or cricket, it just doesn't play in the same way. Like, why does cricket just feel inherently uncinematic, whereas baseball is maybe the most cinematic of all sports? It's just one of those things. And NASCAR falls into that same category of just US sport, which looks great on screen. And like I said, you know most of the actors, actresses in this movie. It's got cool direction. So I'm just one of those films, like I'm not going to go screaming it down the street. But if I'm like talking to one of my friends, I'm like, oh, we watched Days of Thunder for the podcast. Oh, I haven't seen that for ages. I'd be like, you should watch it. It's on like what do we watch on? Is it Netflix or Amazon? I can't remember.
Netflix.
Netflix. It's on Netflix and it's still loads of fun. So yeah, I'd say it's on Netflix in particular. It's like if you're looking for a movie to watch, you've got a couple of hours, you could do worse than Days of Thunder.
When it comes to recommendation, I always go with the thing if somebody comes up to me and says, should I watch this film? Would you recommend this film? And
Yeah.
it's a yes or a no. So in this case, yeah, if somebody came up to me and said that, I'd probably say yes.
Yeah. Like you said, I'm just like, to be honest, it's borderline. Like I said, I don't feel like super strongly about it, but that's a perfect way of putting it. If someone came up to me and go, oh, Days of Thunder's on Netflix, should I watch it? I'd be like, yeah, go on. Why not? Why the fuck not? I'm not saying pay for it, but if it's on Netflix. Yeah, so that's been 1990s Days of Thunder. I'm going to throw a quick quiz at you, bizarrely. I got this gift from a friend, and it's going to be very quick fire, but people listening can play along as well, yeah? So basically, based on the clues, you have to tell me what movie it is. So it's basically movies explained poorly. So you get and we'll just go through three of them really quickly. And you get the main hint, and then you get a backup hint if you need it. So 4 friends roast a marshmallow together.
4 friends roast a marshmallow together.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. What's going on here? Fucking, it's Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters, it is. The secondary hint would have been they start a business. I was like, that's not too
bad.
Yeah. The next one, I've given you ones I thought you might be able to get. A business school dropout discovers that alcohol is the answer.
Fucking, you've already mentioned a cocktail.
Yeah, dude, you're fucking flying.
Yeah.
The hint is serving it specifically. And the third one for this week, because I don't want to use them all up because I've only got so many. A dead police officer still has to go to work. I suspect you'll get this one.
Dead police officer still has to go to work. Maniac Cop?
Nope.
No. Okay, hang on. Dead police officer still has to go to work. What police officer was dead and then came back to life?
You're gonna fucking kick yourself.
It's not Demolition Man because he was frozen. No.
Do you want the second hint?
Yeah.
He's mostly metal now.
Oh, fuck me, it's RoboCop.
Of course it is. There we go.
Yes,
oh, yeah. No. I was like, I've absolutely sprung this on you. You had no idea this was coming. And those are the worst ones where you're like, I should get this, but it's just dropped out of my head. So we'll do 3 a week for a while. So,
nice. So somebody bought you this, did they?
Yeah, for my birthday. But I was just like, I could just go through them myself, but I was just like, I'm not going to play with that.
Who do I play this with? So you think, raw one.
I just thought add little things to the end, add a little spice, quick quiz.
I like it, dude.
It's like quick fire and everyone can play it at home. Which leads us to next week's choice, which is yours. I picked Days of Thunder. So what's going to be, buddy?
Right. So we've talked about this quite a few times. I don't think you've seen it, but I think you want to.
Okay.
I think you're going to get it pretty quick, but I'll give you the year. It's 1998.
1998. For some reason, the first film that popped into my head was like Mimic. It's like, do I want to watch that? Was it even 1998?
97.
Oh,
Norman Reedus was in that.
Yeah, that's a weird film.
Yeah.
I was like, all of a sudden now I'm just thinking of like weird stuff. I'm like, is it going to be?
Do you know what's weird? That had sequels.
Mimic had sequels, really?
Mimic, yes. Jesus and Mimic Christ. 3 was Mimic 3. Here we go. Mimic 3 was like Rear Window.
Yeah.
And it was Mickey Rourke.
My God. Maybe we have to every so often I want to do these films just so you can tell me about all the batshit sequels. You'll tell me now Sphere had... Am I saying that weird? Sphere?
Sphere, yeah. Sphere. It's like you're Swedish.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm saying Sphere. Sphere. I just got caught up on the whole PH thing, sphere. All of a sudden, I was just like, dude, stop saying it weird. Sphere. There we go. Oh, God. So anyway, sorry,
It's not
1998.
Sphere.
No, no, it's not. I don't think that's 1998 either, to be honest.
That is 98.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I'm gonna need more than that.
no problem. The director is Alex Proyas.
Alex Proyas.
Yeah, of Crow fame.
Oh my God. I feel like I should be able to get that.
But like I said, I don't think, if I remember rightly, I recall you saying you've never seen it.
It's not that. Is it a sci-fi film?
Yes, technically a sci-fi film, yeah.
It's not that weird one. What was it like the third? Not the 13th floor or something like that. It was like it.
You're getting there.
Oh, what the fuck is it called?
Uh, Keith Sutherland.
Yeah, I know the one you mean. I just can't think
Yeah.
of the goddamn name. You just got to say it. It's going to drive me
Misery.
crazy.
Your misery. Dark City.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I don't know why I got the 13th floor in my head. I could see the poster and I was like,
Because
it's not the 13th floor.
for some reason, you're not the only one. Those have been intrinsically linked, but I don't know why.
Yeah, I think maybe it's the poster or something. I
Yeah.
think because I just mix those movies up occasionally, and I've not seen either of them. But yeah, that's a great chat. That's a great chat. It's yeah, exactly what you said there. For some reason or another, I didn't see this. I totally want to. It feels like a podcast movie, so I think that should be good. I don't even know if that movie had good reviews though.
Well, to be fair, mate, if Days of Thunder was a 6.2, this is IMDb rating of a 7.5.
Yeah, 7.5 is super high. Yeah, like because
Yeah.
I just it's one of those films. I know it's become like a bit of a cult classic, and I always got the impression that it become like reappraised somewhat in recent years. But I wasn't sure if it had like good reviews, like rated straight out of the gate, because it wasn't a massive box office success, was it?
No, not at all. I think it was a bit of a letdown for people. I wouldn't
Like
call it a box
financially, at
office
least.
bomb, but
It didn't do
yeah,
huge business
it
right of
was.
that. I just remember it kind of coming and going without too much fuss. But
Yeah.
then it was one of those films that like kept popping up on lists years later.
For
Well, yeah,
me,
it actually,
randomly.
funnily enough, it popped up on a list I was reading just yesterday, where it was like a list of like the top 10 sci-fi movies you've probably not watched from the 90s. Because everyone seems to think that the 90s was maybe the best decade for like sci-fi movies. And there's like a whole host of films. You know, you think of like Existenz and stuff like that. You know, a good film which a lot of people just didn't bother with. Was this Existenz? Was that 99?
Was it 97, I think, again?
Oh, it was the 90s though, yeah. I was just worried it might have been one of those ones where it was like, I'll find out it was like 2000 or something.
No,
like
no,
that.
no. It was definitely.
Sure.
It might have even been like 95.
Oh, I thought it was later than that. You have to find out now. And
Yeah.
that feels like another one we got to do on the podcast, man.
Oh, no,
I told-
sorry. Straight away, you're right. 99. Existence is on my list. Yeah.
I thought
So-
Existenz was like right on the cusp, so yeah.
Yeah. So Dark City, I fell in love with The Crow, as we know. So when I found out he was doing another film,
Mhm.
it's like come for Alex Proyas, stay for Richard O'Brien, especially
yeah.
in the UK. Crystal Maze is Richard O'Brien, like
100%.
randomly in this film as an
yeah.
evil thing.
You
I'm not
think
gonna
for
spoil it.
everyone else it's the Rocky Horror Picture Show, but for us it's the Crystal Maze.
Yeah, it's definitely the Crystal Maze. But I enjoyed it. I've only ever seen it a handful of times. We're talking 2 or 3, but every time I've seen it, I've enjoyed it. I haven't like Rufus Sewell is good in it. William, like it's very odd. And look, I don't want to say anything.
And
more about it,
and just
but,
out of interest for my own mental well-being, was that other movie? There is another movie called The 13th Floor, right?
it is, yeah, with
What year was
Craig
that?
something or other. That was around about the same time as well. So the
I think
13th
that was
floor
part
that
of the
you're
problem.
thinking of,
Yeah,
the 13th floor that you're thinking of, or 99, Craig Bierko.
Oh, okay, there we go.
That was, I want to say VR or alternative reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, VR, I believe.
Yeah, I just
Vincent
wanted-
D'Onofrio was in it as well.
So 13th Floor and Dark City.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing the post. See, the posters don't even look that. But like you said, I'm glad it's not just me who kind of oddly conflates these two movies. Like in my mind, there's just something about them aesthetically, and this is coming from someone who hasn't seen them, so
It's
they might be
really
very
hard.
different movies. But I think it's because they're both basically dark sci-fi,
And it's
they
really
came out
hard
around
to
the same
say
time.
why I think they connect without spoiling Dark City.
Well, that's the thing. We won't say it. We can talk
we'll
about it
get
next
to
week.
we'll get to that next week and why I think.
But that makes
why
me
I-
feel better about you know
Yeah.
the whole 13th Floor Dark City thing.
Yeah, no, you're not the only one that's mentioned it before about like
Mhm.
these kind of things being connected. But no, so it's 13
Because it
floors.
was weird. Like I said, when you were saying it and you said Kiefer Sutherland, I was like, oh, I know the film and I could see the poster. And then I've just said 13th Floor. And then, of course, I'm like, but like I wasn't thinking of the wrong poster. I just applied the wrong title to a different film. Very strange, very strange.
But no, I mean, prepare to be. I guess a little bit frustrated by the end, maybe if I remember rightly. But frustrated
forward
because
to
you're
it.
gonna have to rent it. It's Amazon Prime, but it's rentable.
That's okay. No
It's
problem.
not free.
More than happy
Uh,
to rent this film.
but yeah, no, I'm looking forward to this. I wanted to cover it for a while.
That's good show.
It was between two darks. To be fair, it was Dark Man or Dark City, and I think I've
Darkman,
got
it's almost
yeah.
amazing we've not covered that, but I think we were maybe going to save that for like alternative 90s superhero season or something like that. You know, we were talking about doing that in the past.
Well,
Oh, no, we've already done that,
no,
haven't we?
we did alternative. We went
No, we did.
alternative 90s superhero, but we went pulpy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
there's the other end of the spectrum. You could do like Darkman. I don't know. I feel like there's like an alternative it doesn't have to be 90s, an alternative superhero series where you do like the slightly offbeat but still somewhat successful superhero films.
Well, I'll tell you what, we don't have to worry about doing a season for that.
No, we
What I'll
don't. We
say,
don't. No.
no, what I'll say is when you want to hear about the sequels,
Mm-hmm. Oh,
the
do
straight to
Darkman.
the straight to DVD starring Arnold Vosloo sequels, let me know.
Yeah.
We'll
I
do
remember those
Darkman
ones
because
for
I've
sure.
seen them both. One of them
Because
was basically just a pilot that was released on Sci-Fi.
fantastic.
Yeah.
This is the level we're going into. But yeah, anyway, I look forward to this one because as I say, it's a movie I've wanted to see for a while. And there are a whole bunch of movies, funny enough, which I've been putting off, you know, because I'm like,
For
we'll
this.
just do it for the podcast.
Yeah.
There's no
Every
point in
time
me watching this because we'll do it eventually.
I'll go down the list of like Netflix or wherever, and I'll see a film and like, oh, let's watch this. It's like, no, this will be good for the
I'll save
podcast.
that for the podcast.
So many times I've frustrated my wife by going, oh no, we're going to save this for the podcast. I'm not going to watch it.
Darkman,
Just pick a fucking film.
sometimes it's a film I've already seen. Like I genuinely want to rewatch Darkman, but I'm like, we're going to do it on the podcast at some point. So
Yeah.
and then I keep forgetting to pick it myself. So
Same.
eventually we'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you for joining us for 1990s Days of Thunder. Please do join us next week for 1998's Dark City. Anything else before we wrap this up?
No, at some point we're going to watch Sevilla or however you said it.
I don't know what happened. I think I had like a mini stroke or something. It was very strange. Anyway, I've been Liam. He's been Rob, and you've been listening to the Hey Guys podcast. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys. Bye now.
Oh, and before I forget, where can folk reach us if they were so inclined to?
Well, you can actually reach us on Hey You Guys 80s at Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. But if you want to send us a mail, do heyyouguys80s@gmail.com. Send us in your recommendations. Send us in your thoughts about any of the episodes. Just literally talk to us. We'll have a one-sided talk with you on the podcast.
Yeah. We're nice folk. You know, get in touch. But no, cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys. Bye now.
Hey, you!